Next we can see about the classification of animals. So the animals are classified into different groups or phylum, isn't it? As you know, all animals are multicellular, and based on different criteria, the animals are classified into different phylums. So one of the criteria which we have seen is the level of organization. So based on the level of organization, if we say the animals exhibit cellular level or tissue organ and organ system level of organization, isn't it? So all the organisms which exhibit the cellular level of organization are grouped under the phylum Porifera. Okay, so the phylum Porifera includes all the organisms which exhibit a cellular level of organization. Now all the other group of organisms, that is which exhibit tissue organ and organ system level of organization, they are further classified into different phylum based on the next criteria, that is symmetry. So based on symmetry, we have seen that the organisms may exhibit asymmetry or radial symmetry or bilateral symmetry, isn't it? So those organisms which do not show any symmetry are said to be asymmetric, and you know that poriferans do not show symmetry. So poriferans are asymmetric organisms. Okay. Now, if you take this radial symmetry, that means the organisms can be cut into two equal halves in any plane, isn't it? So, the phylum Coelenterata and Ctenophora, that these two phylum exhibit a radial symmetry. That is, the organisms which belong to phylum Coelenterates and Ctenophora exhibit a radial symmetry. Okay, so based on different similar characteristics and dissimilar characteristics, all the organisms which exhibit radial symmetry are classified into two phylum, that is Coelenterata and Ctenophora. Now the left out is the bilateral symmetrical organisms, isn't it? So the organisms which show bilateral symmetry are again further classified based on the body cavity present in them. So some of them do not have a body cavity. They are said to be as acoelomate animals, isn't it? So animals which do not have body cavity are grouped under the phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay. So already Coelenterata, Porifera, Coelenterates, Ctenophora, they are already classified, and the left out organisms are classified under phylum Platyhelminthes, which do not show a body cavity. That is, they don't have a true body cavity. Okay, then there are some organisms which have a false body cavity, isn't it? So false body cavity means pseudocoelomate organism, isn't it? So they are grouped under the phylum called Aschelminthes. Okay, so organisms with the false body cavity are grouped under Aschelminthes. Then the left out, that is the organisms which are having true body cavity, are classified into phylum Annelida, Arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata. Based on the distinguishing features present in them, they are classified into different phyla. Okay, so these are the different phylums which comes under the kingdom Animalia. What are they? Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So one by one we can see them. So when we see the next slide, it is about the first phylum, that is phylum Porifera. Okay, so Porifera, from the term itself we can say pores. That means their body is having many pores. Okay, so the body with holes is said to be as poriferans. Okay, so these are organisms with the holes on their body. Okay, that's why this phylum is named as a Porifera. Okay, now these are commonly said to be as sponges. This phylum is commonly said to be as sponges. Okay, that is, this phylum is, the members of this phylum are commonly said to be as sponges, because they are a soft sponge-like structures. Okay, and they are generally marine organisms. Okay, they are generally marine organisms, and they show asymmetry. That means they cannot be cut into two equal halves. Okay, so they show asymmetry, and they show cellular level of organization. Their body is formed of a group of cell which is not differentiated into tissue or organs. Okay, and so we can consider them as the primitive multicellular animals. Okay, then they are having a water transport system. okay, or a canal system, water transport system or a canal system through which the water will be circulating. Okay, so as I told, the body is having many pores in it, isn't it? These pores are called as ostia. What is the name of the pores? Here the pores are there. These pores are called as ostia. Okay, so through the in the wall, if you see carefully, if you see, you can see minute pores are there, and these pores are called as ostia, and through that the water enters, and here you can see a cavity. This cavity is called spongiocele, and the water can come out through an opening at the tip, and that is called the osculum. Okay, so this opening is the osculum. Okay, and this cavity is what? The spongiocele. Okay, it is the spongiocele. Yes, so it is having a water transport system or a canal system through which the water will be circulating. So how the water enters? Through the ostia it enters, it circulates through the cavity called spongiocele, and it comes out through the osculum. Okay, so when the water is transported, it is helpful in collecting the food, that is food gathering, respiratory exchange, and removal of waste. Okay, so when the when the water is circulating like this, and when it goes outside, the water enters here, it circulates, it will be carrying along with some food materials. So that food material will be taken up by the cells which line the body cavity. So these are the cells which are lining, here you can see the cells which line the body cavity, isn't it? That cells will take up the food, and they will also utilize the oxygen which is present in the water, and along with that they will release the waste material which can be removed out when the water is eliminated outside through the osculum. Okay, I hope you can follow that. Yes, so this is about the water canal system which is present in this organism. Then the lining, that is the spongiocele, this is the cavity, it is lined by, so here you can see the cells, isn't it? It is lined by the cells, specialized cells called choanocytes or the collar cells. These are the choanocytes or the collar cells. Okay, so what is the cells used for? They can capture the food material. You can see here these blue colored structures, that is the food particles which are present in the water, that will be taken up by this collar cells. Okay, so they will take it, and the digestion will be intracellular. Inside the cell the food will be digested. So the food can be taken up by the choanocytes or the collar cells, and it can be digested within the cells. Okay, so we can say digestion is intracellular. Intra means what? Within. Okay, within the cell the digestion takes place. Okay, then the body wall is supported by skeletal structures which is made up of spicules and spongin fibers. What is spicules? Spicules means small spine like structures, or spongin fibers, they are proteinaceous fibers. Okay, so they are present in the body, and that support the body wall, because the body is soft, so they need some support. For that, a skeletal structure is formed by the spicules or the spongin fibers which provide support to the body. Okay, then if you see these organisms, the sexes are not separate. That means they are hermaphrodite. In plants we have studied it as monoecious, isn't it? What do you mean by that? Both male and female sex organs are present in the same organism. So in animals also, when both male and female sex organs are present in the same organism, they are said to be as hermaphrodites. Okay, so the sexes are not separate, that means they are hermaphrodites. So eggs and the sperm, that is the gametes, male and female gametes, are produced in the same individual itself. Okay, and fertilization is internal. So where the fertilization takes place, inside the body only the fertilization will be taking place. That is, the gametes are produced inside in the male and the female sex organs, which fuse together, and thus the fertilization can be internal. Okay, and the development is indirect. What do you mean by development is indirect? That means larval stage is formed. The zygote, after the fusion of male and female gamete, the zygote which is formed will develop into a young one which do not resemble the adult one. Okay, so a larval form is developed, and that larva will later develop into the adult one. Okay, that's why we say the development is indirect. Okay, and the sponges can also reproduce asexually. Asexually they reproduce by fragmentation. Okay, and sexually they reproduce by the formation of gametes. Fragmentation, see in plants you have studied the body will be breaking into pieces. So here also it will break into pieces and they can develop into a new individual. Okay, I hope you might have understood. And examples of this are cycon, spongilla, then euspongia, etc. These are some of the examples of sponges. So here you can see the varieties of sponges. Okay, now the next phylum is phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria. Okay, Coelenterata means here also they are having, don't think is coelom, true body cavity is there, but here a water vascular circulatory system or a gastrovascular canal, just like the sponges is present. Okay, or it is also called as Cnidaria. Why it is called as Cnidaria? Because they are having specialized cells called nidoblast or nidocytes. Okay, they are having specialized cells called nidoblast or nidocytes, and these cells contain the stinging capsules inside it, which is called as nematocyst. So what is present? Stinging capsules are there. Okay, and these stinging capsules contains a poisonous substance. So this is the stinging cells. You can see here, this is the stinging cell and it contains the poisonous fluid inside it. And here you can see a needle-like structure is there, and with that needle can inject that poisonous substance to the prey or to their enemies. Okay, so as this nematocysts are present in the specialized cells called this nidocytes or the nidoblast, they are said to be as Cnidaria. Okay, so this phylum is called as Cnidaria because they contain specialized cells called nidoblast or nidocytes, which contain the stinging capsule called the nematocyst. Okay, I hope you have understood why it is called so. Now, when we see about the characteristic features of this phylum Coelenterata, they are aquatic organisms. Okay, they are aquatic organism and mostly they are marine organisms. Only rarely a few like hydra freshwater forms are there, but mainly most of them are marine, and they are sessile or free living. What do you mean by sessile? Sessile means attached forms. They will be seen attached to any surface. Okay, or free swimming forms. They will be swimming in the water, and they are radially symmetrical organisms. Okay, and the specialized cells, as I told earlier, the nidoblast or nidocytes, they are present on the tentacles and on the body. Tentacles, you know, in hydra you can see the tentacles. So this is the tentacle present in the hydra. So in the tentacles also you can see that, or in the body of these organisms you can see the nidoblast or the nidocytes. Okay, and these cnidarians exhibit tissue level of organization. Okay, so here we can say they show tissue level of organization, that is the cells are grouped together to form tissues, and they are diploblastic in nature. Two germ layers are formed, isn't it? Ectoderm and endoderm are there, so they are diploblastic. Then they are having a central gastrovascular cavity. Okay, so what is present? A central gastrovascular cavity is present. So here you can see in the center, here you can see a cavity is there. So that is the gastrovascular cavity. So here this is the hypostome region. In the hypostome you can see the mouth. In the center you can see a small depression like structure, that is the mouth. Okay, so they are having a cavity called what? A gastrovascular cavity with a single opening only, that is the mouth, which is present in the hypostome. So this part is the hypostome, in that the mouth is there. Okay, that is the single opening through which the water can enter and it can go out. But here in the wall there is no ostia. or holes are not there. Okay, so through that opening, the single opening called mouth, the water enters, and through that mouth itself the water will be leaving out also. Okay, and here the digestion is extracellular. Okay, that's why this cavity is called as gastrovascular cavity, because gastric means related to the digestive system. So here digestion can also takes place. Okay, so enzymes can be released into the cavity, and digestion can take place extracellular, and it can be intracellular also. Digestion can be intracellular also. The cells which line the cavity can also take up the food material and they can digest it. Okay, so digestion is extracellular as well as intracellular. Then if you see some of the cnidarians like this coral, so here you can see these are the corals. Okay, see in this corals, if you see, they have a skeleton, outer surface. If you see, a skeleton is formed which is composed of calcium carbonate. A skeleton is made by them, by these corals. Okay, and it is formed of calcium carbonate. You might have seen coral reefs are there in the deep oceans. Okay, yes, so they are formed of calcium carbonate. That is, the cells itself will be secreting this calcium carbonate, and they will make the corals shell like structure. Inside that this organism will be living. Okay, and these cnidarians exhibit two basic body forms, that is polyp and medusa. They can exhibit two forms, two body forms, polyp and medusa. Okay, the polyp is sessile. Sessile means attached form, like hydra. It is cylindrical in nature and it is sessile like a hydra. Okay, and the medusa is umbrella shaped and it is free living like the aurelia or the jellyfish. Okay, it is umbrella shaped and it is free living. Okay, now we can say the polyp is sessile in nature and the medusa is free swimming. Okay, it can swim. Now, if you see these two, those organisms which exhibit this polyp and medusa stage will be exhibiting alternation of generation. Okay, they will be exhibiting. See, you have studied alternation of generation in the plants, where sporophytic generation alternates with the gametophytic generation, isn't it? Same way, those organisms, those coelenterates which exhibit polyp and medusal forms in their life cycle will be exhibiting such alternation of generation. So, this alternation of generation, we can say it as a metagenesis. It is said to be as metagenesis. So, what is metagenesis? Alternation of polyp and medusal forms in the life cycle of Coelenterata is called metagenesis. Okay. So here, if it is polyp stage, they will produce medusa asexually, and the medusa will be producing polyp sexually. Okay, polyp produce medusa asexually and medusa will be producing polyp sexually. Okay, thus both polyp and medusal stage will be exhibited in such organisms, that is, they exhibit alternation of generation or metagenesis. Okay, examples we can say that Physalia, we can say it as the Portuguese manaphor, isn't it? Physalia, Adamsia, that is the sea anemone, or Penatula, okay, that is then sea pen, that is sea pen, or sea fan is there, Gorgonia or Meandrina, that is a type of coral. Okay, so these are some of the examples of this phylum. Okay. So now if you see the next slide, you can see some of the, see here you can see about some of the examples of this coelenterates. Now we can see the next phylum, it is Ctenophora. Okay, Ctenophora is another phylum which comes under the animal kingdom, and if you see, it includes the organisms which are commonly known as sea walnuts or comb jellies. Okay, it includes the organisms which are commonly known as what? Sea walnuts or comb jellies. Okay, and they are exclusively marine organisms, that is, they are found only in marine water bodies, Then they show radial symmetry, you know what it is. Then diploblastic organism that is made up of two germ layers, ectoderm and endoderm, and they show tissue level of organization. Okay, their body is formed of tissues only. Yes. Then their body consists of 8 external rows of comb plates which is having cilia on them, and it is used for locomotion. So if you see here, you can see the 8 rows here like this. Can you see the rows? So other side also you will be able to see that, and these 8 rows of comb plates are there. Okay, they are ciliated. See in this picture you can see minute small hair like cilia are present on its surface, isn't it? So ciliated comb plates are there, and they are mainly involved in locomotion. Okay, then when we see about their digestion is both extracellular as well as intracellular in nature. So extracellular means outside the cell, within the gastrovascular cavity it will be digested, or the food will be taken in and inside the cell it can be digested. Then another important property which is seen in this organism is bioluminescence. What is bioluminescence? It is the property of the living organism to emit light. That means they can release light. So here you can see, if you see these organisms, it is just like light. Here you can see the light is emitted by them, isn't it? So they are having the property of bioluminescence by which they can emit light. Okay, they can release light. Okay, so this is one of the important characteristics which is found in this ctenophorans. Okay, now when we see about the other characteristic, the sexes are not separate. That means again they are hermaphrodite in nature. Then reproduction can take place only by sexual means. Okay, reproduction is only sexual, no asexual method is seen. Then fertilization is external. So here the gametes will be released into the surrounding water. Then the direct development is indirect. That means larval stage is present. Okay, examples are pleurobrachia and ctenoplana. Okay. Now next we can see about the phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, so from the name itself we can say platy means they are commonly called as flatworms because their body is flattened, dorso-ventrally flattened body. That's why they are commonly called as flatworms, and that's why the name is given as Platyhelminthes. Helminth means the worms, and platy here means flatworms. Okay, so they are generally dorso-ventrally flattened, so they are commonly called as flatworms. Okay, and they are mainly endoparasites. Endoparasites, what are parasites? The organisms which live on other organisms for their food, isn't it? And endoparasites means they live inside the body of other organisms, even including human beings. It can be seen. Tapeworm can be seen inside our body also. Okay, yes, and they show bilateral symmetry. They are bilaterally symmetrical. Then they are triploblastic. That means they are made up of 3 germ layers. They are ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Then they are acoelomate animals. That means A here means absence of coelom. They do not have a coelom. And then they show organ level of organization. Here they are having organs, but organ systems are absent. Okay, they show organ level of organization. And as they are endoparasites, they need certain structures to attach to the host body, isn't it? So they are having hooks and suckers. So hooks and suckers are present in the parasitic forms by which they can attach to the host body. Okay, and some of them can absorb the nutrients from the host directly through their body surface also. Okay, their body surface can absorb the nutrients from the host body. Okay, then excretion is done by specialized cells called flame cells. So which is the excretory organ? Specialized cells called flame cells help in excretion as well as osmoregulation. What is osmoregulation? Regulating salt water balance in the body. Okay. Excretion means the elimination of the nitrogenous waste material, and osmoregulation means regulating salt water balance in the body. Okay. So it is done by specialized cells called the flame cells, or we can also say it as solenocytes. Another name for flame cell is what? Solenocytes. Okay. Then here again sexes are not separate, that means they are hermaphrodite. Then fertilization is internal. Okay, that is inside the body only the fertilization can take place. Then development is through many larval stages, that is development is indirect. That's why we can say it takes place through larval stage. That means development is indirect. Okay, and some of the members like planaria, it is having high regeneration capacity. What do you mean by that regeneration capacity? That is, if the body is cut into different many pieces, each piece can develop into a new individual. That is, regeneration means they can generate the lost part. Whichever part is lost, they can again produce that part. That we say it as a regeneration. Okay, so planaria is having the capacity of regeneration. Okay, so here this is the planaria, this organism is the planaria, this is the tapeworm, this is the liver fluke which lives inside the liver. So these are some of the examples of Platyhelminthes. Okay. Next phylum is phylum Aschelminthes. Okay. In 9th you might have studied it as nematoda. It is Aschelminthes. Now, when we see the characteristics of this Aschelminthes, they are commonly called as roundworms. Why they are called as roundworms? Roundworm means don't think it is round in shape. But when we take the cross section of this organism, it will be having a round shape. Okay. When the organism will be long like this. Okay. And if you take a cross section of that and see, it will be round in shape. That's why it is said to be as roundworms. Okay. And they may be free living, or aquatic forms are there, terrestrial forms are there, even parasitic forms are also there. Okay. So the parasitic forms can be seen living as parasites in plants as well as animals also. Okay. Then these organisms are having organ system level of organization. Then they are bilaterally symmetrical. So bilaterally means, bi means two, lateral means lateral halves. So two lateral halves we can get it. So they are bilateral symmetrical. Then triploblastic, that means they have ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm in their embryonic stage. Then they are pseudocoelomate organisms. What is meant by pseudocoelomate animals? They are having a false body cavity. Pseudo means false, coelo means body cavity. So they possess a false body cavity. So they are pseudocoelomate animals. Now when we see about the alimentary canal, it is complete because they show organ system level of organization, isn't it? So it is complete. Completed alimentary canal means their alimentary canal consists of two openings, mouth and the anus. Okay. And a well developed muscular pharynx is also present in the digestive system, that is in the alimentary canal. Okay. Then the excretion is done by excretory tube. Okay, excretion is done by excretory tube, which collect the waste from the body and removes it or eliminate it through the opening called excretory pore. Okay, the excretory tube is having an opening called excretory pore through which it can eliminate the waste out. Okay, so excretion is done by excretory tube, which removes the waste from the body cavity and it releases out through the excretory pore. Okay, now here the sexes are separate. Sexes are separate, that means dioecious or sexual dimorphism is seen. We can differentiate the male and the female sexes. Okay, so sexes are separate. So separate male and female organisms are there. Okay, distinct male and female organisms are there. Normally the females will be longer than the males. Males will be little shorter and the females will be longer than the males. Okay, then fertilization is internal. We can say fertilization is internal. Internal means inside the body only the fertilization occurs, and development in some cases it is direct and in some it is indirect. Okay, in indirect cases larval stages are seen, and where the development is direct, the young one will be resembling that of the adult one. Okay, now examples of this are Ascaris, Wuchereria. Eucheraria is the filarial worm which causes filariasis. Ascaris is the round worm which causes ascariasis, or ankylostoma, that is the hookworm. These are some of the examples. So here you can see this is the Ascaris. So this is the male. You can see male is shorter than the female. Okay, so this one is the female which is longer and male is shorter, and you can see the male will be having a coiled end. Okay, by that we can find that it is a male. This is the filarial worm. Filarial worm means which causes filariasis, that is elephantiasis, and this is the hookworm. Okay, so these are some of the examples of Aschelminthes. I hope you might have understood this.